what I would also say is that there is a creative force in all of us. You know, in today's sophisticated world, it's sometimes hidden away. But in the beginning, when you didn't have much around you, you had to create tools in order to get certain jobs done. That's creating. You had to create a space for you to shelter. That's creating. You might embellish that space with other things that are important to you, but not necessarily to somebody else, but that's creating. Man is a creative force in himself. That's how we survive. And as we become more and more sophisticated, the things that we would have not even considered art has become art, because our way of looking at things are different.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I think so. My name's Mel Nugent. I was born in Jamaica many years ago, lived in London for many years, and during my time in London, I started up a business. At the end of my career working with other companies, I decided to set up my own business. The business started off as a tea room cafe, which then grew into a community hub where we were selling, we turned it into a restaurant, and we had space on the walls to display people's art, local artists' work on the walls. We used the space for events, even christenings and wedding receptions, etc. It became a real hub in the community over the course of 15, 20 years. At the end of my time in London, I decided to get out of town and find a quieter lifestyle. So we ended up here in Bournemouth, and when I left, I decided that I needed to do something to keep me interested, to get to know the local community, and to find my interest again. So we landed with this idea to open Rhythm, the store. The name came from a shop I had in London along with the restaurants. I had another little shop which I sold design-led pieces, greeting cards, local artists' work. And when we closed it, I thought, you know, this is something that I could run with. During the course of running the cafes, I often had to go and find pieces to make the interiors of the shops interesting. So in doing that, I became a little bit obsessed with collecting. I started collecting lots of chairs and pieces of interesting furniture that would lend itself to the interior of the cafes. That collection became a passion, and so not only was I collecting for the cafes, I was buying stuff for myself. I was going to auctions. I was seeing things that interested me, and before long, I had a couple of lockups and garages filled with all sorts of different things. So when I moved to Bournemouth, I thought this would be a good opportunity to bring all of my things together in one place and create a sort of mid-century store, if you like, whereby I've got all my pieces around me, and what I'd imagined was me sitting around on a lovely sunny afternoon with my shop open, a newspaper in hand, and just relaxing for a few hours and enjoying the environment with all my things around me, which is how this was the idea. So fast forward 2 years ago, I found this space, and the environment really lent itself to that idea. So I moved my things in. We started to focus on how we displayed the stuff around us, and so it started to get the interest of the local community. I'd always been interested in art, and so that became a big part of the stuff that I would be selling. I had a friend in London who was very interested in film posters. We used to go to the BFI, watch all these foreign films, unusual films, and he got into collecting posters. So when I moved here, I said, look, send me some of your posters and I can get them in the shop. That would be another point of interest for people coming into the store. I look out for items between the 50s and the 70s, really. That's the period, that mid-century period that interests me. I was always drawn to the colors and the vibrancy of interiors at that time, and I kind of grew up with this stuff around me that I really liked, but never ever thought I'd be running a place where I have all of this stuff around me. As a kid, I was drawn to bright colors and interesting shapes. In fact, when I was at school, one of the things I wanted to be was a draftsman, because I enjoyed drawing, I enjoyed looking at buildings, and so this was something that sort of led me into, that's what informed my taste. So the 50s to the 70s is really the period that I love. For me, the visual appearance of things is really important. So if I'm doing a window display, it's got to have some kind of form to it. If I'm putting a plate together in the kitchen, it's got to have form, color, and it's got to appeal to the eye. Firstly to my eye, and then hopefully it will transfer to appealing to the eye of the person who's then going to consume that dish. So I know for some people it may seem a little bit, a bit over the top, but I like to see food presented in front of the customer. In the same way, I like to see the shop presented. When people walk into the store, I'm almost apologetic if the displays don't look right to me, even though the customer might think, well, there's nothing wrong with this, I really love it as it is. I'm kind of almost apologetic to say, well, visually, it's not what I would want it to be. And it's the same with plates, but the art, the color, and the overall visuals are very important to me. My appreciation of art is very broad and very eclectic. I don't sort of look at one particular thing and think that's perfect. I like different things about different pieces. So for instance, this vase, which is it's a lovely glass piece. It's the colors and the fluted edge and the shape all appeal to me. So in that piece, I get a lot of pleasure at looking at it, and I can just see how the person who designed this would be influenced by curves and fluidity of shape, which is something that appeals to me. So I would love to have this piece in my home, and I choose things that I feel that I would take home, but at the same time I leave it in the shop because I get pleasure from looking at it in the shop, and then there's an opportunity to sell it on to somebody who might also want to have it in their home. Yeah, I like to try and greet everybody as they come into this place, because it's almost like welcoming somebody into my home. You know, I want you to be here. I want you to be in this space. So first of all, I want to welcome you in, and then I want to see that you find some joy at looking around you and being emotionally moved by something. Like for instance, you know, somebody will come in and they say, oh, that reminds me of my grandmother, or who is no longer with us, or I remember this piece in so-and-so's house, or so I want people to feel some sort of emotional move, some freeing of emotion when they come in here and have a look at things. They don't necessarily have to buy, but it's just, I want to see them, I want the place to bring some joy to the people who come in. So coffee's always been a big part of what I do. Ever since I started working in the food industry, I've had an interest in coffee, because in Jamaica we have a coffee called the Blue Mountain, which is one of the most expensive coffees in the world. And so when I used to manage a food hall in town, and we sold this Blue Mountain coffee, and I realized then the vast difference between the price of a Brazilian coffee at £4 a pound to the Blue Mountain coffee at £64 a pound. But then when I investigated further and decided to taste them, you could understand why there was such a difference. It's just a very unique coffee. Now, when I started running coffee shops, I felt that I wanted to honor the fact that we've got this wonderful, expensive coffee. So I called my cafe the Blue Mountain Cafe, just to sort of let people know that the quality of what they were going to get was going to be up of that standard. So yeah, there's always been coffee in my world, really. My grandfather used to grow coffee back when I was a kid, and I always used to remember him roasting the beans out in the sun, drying the beans in the sun, and we used to pick the berry and eat the sweet flesh off the berry. So coffee is kind of ingrained in me, really.